What's up, nerds, and welcome to another What's So Good About, a video series where we dive into a game to let you know why it deserves your attention. Today, we're talking about the Sega-developed Sakura Wars. Available now on PlayStation 4 in the West, the game tells the story of a failing combat review who turns it all around through the power of determination, friendship, and a little bit of romance. But let's discuss what makes it so good. Now, Sakura Wars is definitely an adventure visual novel game, which is strange coming from a developer and publisher like Sega. We haven't gotten a lot of these titles in the West. There was like So Long My Love on Wii and PS2 back in the day, and that's generally where people had their introduction to the series and then quickly jumped off of it. But it is a significant series in Japan, and now it seems like Sega is believing in the niche market in the West and creating these games with the West in mind, whereas before they created these games and had no plans to ever release it in the West. The game revolves around one guy named Seijiro Kamiyama, and he's this captain from the Navy who has all these old war stories. He didn't really do anything like significant, but he is trained in battle and strategy. You learn more about him throughout the game, but definitely the story wants him to be the vessel and you to kind of control his more outward personality. So during the game, they'll do a lot of first person point of views where you'll be walking with one of the girls and you'll just be talking to them in the first person, answering questions and interacting with them that way. This is also the same with the romance in the game, but we'll get into that later. The choices that you make during the game are pretty vast. Even though they only give you about 3 choices, there's a range of what type of Seijiro you want him to be. He can be extremely perverted, he can be extremely over-motivated. There's these different ways you can present him to the other girls, and each of them will react differently to a different situation. There's a girl named Clarice, who is a glass half empty type of girl, where if you're over-motivated to her or trying to just say things just to keep her going, she'll call you out on it. Whereas if you're saying those things to Sakura, she kind of gets pumped up about it. So you have to catch on to these things. And it's really interesting as you go through the game, looking back how you first reacted with the character to how you last reacted with them. There's this huge growth that you yourself go through as a player, as much as Seijiro goes through, with the range of emotions that they allow him to see. And it's just an interesting dynamic as a story. So aside from Seijiro, you have the waifus. There are 5 romanceable girls here that are completely different, as I've said before, and there are also other girls that make an appearance that you can interact with, and they are also waifu material, but you can't date them. There is a strange romance mechanic in the game with the 5 romanceable girls, where if you say the right thing, you'll hear like this bell. At the end of the episode, you'll get to see how far you've progressed in the relationship, but it's not possible to romance all of them, even though in the game it doesn't limit you to if you only romance Sakura, then you don't have interactions with Anastasia. It just plays out. You're basically this whore of the theater, and you're just flirting with everybody and being this perverted mess. I mean, you don't have to be, but I mean, who wouldn't? But definitely the best thing about each of these characters are their vast personalities. Another aspect of the game is exploration, where you can explore the theater and the surrounding town. These are small, closed off sections that it's not open world, but you can kind of just leave and then choose where you want to go from a map. But generally when you visit these places, there's NPCs to talk to. There might be these little cards that you can find on the ground. So visiting places over and over throughout the game is recommended during each episode. What I liked about this approach is that they really took time to make the areas feel alive. Each area is well designed. There's no copied and pasted elements. There's NPCs that you can talk to. There's things that you can kind of look at and see. I mean, it's just not empty, You can tell that time went into creating this town, and I appreciated it. I also appreciated side quests that can be taken alongside the main quests, and they appear on your map. And you basically can just interact with the character. These are more just questions that they ask you, and then you get the chance to build your relationship with them if you want. Or they'll ask for an item and you'll go get it, and a funny scene will play. Everything revolves around these funny scenes, putting the characters in awkward positions and stuff. It's very anime, and it plays out as one, which is even seen in things like the bathroom scenes, where at random parts throughout the game you're allowed to go to the bath house and maybe get the chance to spy on one of the girls. If you're clever enough, you can probably get away with it without getting in too much trouble, but just the way that Seijiro approaches the situation is just so comical and endearing that like I was so happy to see some of these scenes and see him act this way. And I'm not sure why, but I hope that other people get the joke of it all and are amused by his ridiculous personality at times. The battle system is fun for a while. The dungeons you won't be in long enough to really remember, but there's a patch that allows you to target enemies, but you will be fighting a lot of the same enemies along the way. The best thing about the battle system that I'd have to say is how smooth it is. I mean, it's very flashy and colorful, and even though you're just pressing 2 buttons or holding onto 1 button or jumping and attacking to a combo, it's very flashy. There's also this responsive dodge that slows down time and allows you to connect some hard hits. I ended up liking it, but again, it's probably makes up about 15% of the actual game. Another thing that really stands out about this game is just the voice audio of each of the characters. It is amazing. They put so much work into expressing the emotions and the moods of all these characters. It was as if I was watching an anime for most of the time. While reading the story. I just let it autoplay because the graphics and mocapped characters allowed it to kind of flow like a visual novel, and it allowed me to catch on to like the nuances of the conversation to make sure that I wasn't saying anything that was out of order. My first playthrough, I wanted Seijiro to be kind of a button-up, helpful individual. I did make some save files to see where the more perverted routes led, and if that's the route you want to go down, it's definitely one to go down because it's just hilarious. Regardless, this game is very much a visual novel adventure, and I'm hoping that you give it a chance. And if it's not your cup of tea, then maybe show it to someone who might not know it, because this is a reboot, so you don't have to have played the other titles before. So if someone was to ask me what's so good about Sakura Wars Reboot, I would definitely say the characters. Each of them are memorable and unique, and the way that the writing focuses on the story building is super endearing, gripping, charming. It's just fun to watch these characters interact. And that leads me to the waifus. And this game doesn't hold back with the romanceable routes. There is some pretty steamy moments, I'd have to say, between some of the characters. And if you're looking to fall in love, well, this might just be the place to do so. I'd like to say the exploration, running around town, hanging out with all the NPCs and getting to know the surrounding areas was really fun. Side quests were all interesting and unique to the story and provided some very humorous moments of dialogue. The bath scenes, gotta throw those in there. The voiced audio is amazing, and the graphics and motion capture of the characters made you really feel their emotions. But I was pleasantly surprised while playing it, and I would like to know your thoughts on it. If you've played it, let me know what you think. What stands out to you, what you don't like, what you do like. I would love to know. Let me know in the comments below. And that's it for this episode of What's So Good About. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers who work hard to deliver news, reviews, previews, and more. Please subscribe to keep up with all our future content.
Clarice, これが君の本当の力だ。君の力は仲間を守るためにある。
私はまだ自分の力を信じられません。でもみんなは、神山隊長はそんな私を信じてくれた。私の代わりに私を信じてくれた。きっとこれからは私も自分に向き合っていけると思います。
それでいい、クラリス。それが君の新しい力になる。その新しい力で君だけの未来をつかめ。はい、
私もう迷いません。
これであとは脚本だけだな。最後のセリフ一緒に考えようか。
大丈夫です。たった今完成しましたから。
え、そうなのか？
なんだろう、また胸の中がモヤモヤする。
おい、何やってんだよ。勝 のポーズいくぞ。クラリス、決め台詞しっかりかましてくれよ。
私ですか？
最後のセリフは大切よ。しっかりね。
わかりました。物語こそ力の源。どんな時も自分の物語を信じます。せーの、勝利のポーズ決め。